And we're live. So, hey, everybody. Welcome to the Art of Divination's weekly podcast. As promised, we have the wonderful Mike Thompson joining us. And I know there's a different face for you all as a co-host. This is Robin Murdoch. She's our astrology lady. She had the community night on Friday night, and she was a guest on a previous podcast talking about astrology. So you're going to see Robin's face a lot more. I know everybody's used to seeing Stuart. But Stuart's got himself a job at Sobeys, and he's very busy with that. His time is taken up with that, so you're not going to see him around here anymore. And as of right now, with his schedule, we're not going to be offering runestone readings at the store. But when things calm down, you never know what might happen and what changes might be made.
Mary Jane Henley says hello.
Hey, Mary Jane, how are you? You get to join us again this week. Yay, that's exciting. So, get used to seeing Robin. You're going to see her a lot more and co-hosting the show with us. And next week, actually, we're going to be talking about EFT with Sue. So that will be an interesting one. Sue's got a lot of anxiety, so we're going to do that one from my house because she feels more comfortable there. And, last week, I believe, we did it from my house again, too. Yeah, with Ashley. So that was because of the storm. But Sue's like, it was so relaxed. I think I could do that one easier. I was like, perfect for me. It means I get to go home.
Exactly.
So, so welcome Robin to the show. We're going to see a lot more of her, and she's also a wealth of information. She's a fantastic lady. Everybody knows that because I promote her so shamelessly. So, a couple of announcements tonight. I want to start with, I mentioned it today on the peer-to-peer mental health support group that takes place Wednesday evenings from 6 to 8 p.m., and it's across the street, right over there, across the parking lot. And it's at the McLean and Poulain Pharmacy First. It's a wonderful resource for Pictou County. The other one I mentioned, of course, as always, Roots for Youth. They're having their upcoming coldest night of the year walk where they're trying to raise funds because they are 100% dependent on donations. And the other one I wanted to mention is the SPCA. They're looking for blankets, donations of blankets, preferably not knitted ones, because the knitted ones get tangled up in the animal's claws and stuff like that. And, of course, as always, like and share. Let's try not to be Pictou County's best-kept secret anymore. So like and share the podcast, the daily readings, the store page. We're having that contest. We are so close to drawing for that, Robin. We have 311 followers on the page. We've only been open 6 months, so I think we're doing really well.
That's excellent.
But once we get to 400, we're having a draw for a gift bag. If you like and share the page, and it's got all kinds of wonderful products from the store, products that Ashley and Topanga donated, Avon products. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So let's get to Mike.
All right.
It's so exciting. So I know you offer a lot. I know people can go to you when they're in distress because that's how I first got introduced to you, and you put me in touch with some wonderful people. Carrie Whitaker, she's an amazing lady. We've had a podcast with her.
Excellent.
Talking about therapeutic touch. So, sorry, I forgot. Mike is going to do the reading tonight.
I am going to do your surprise reading tonight, so stay tuned, and you're going to pick a number in just a little bit, and then we'll decide who's going to get the free reading.
Yes. So that's going to be an adventure for everybody, a great prize, a free reading from Mike, and it's also a wonderful break for me.
Yeah.
Because I do the readings all day long in here, I do the daily reading, so it's so
a little
wonderful.
Stressful too, especially when you do a podcast like this. It's going to give you more stress and anxiety to try to pull that off at the same time too. So
it does. So I am so happy that you are willing to give everybody that prize.
Absolutely, yes.
That prize tonight. So yeah, do you want to tell us a little bit about your background?
About my background. Well, I have a very diverse background. So I do a lot of different types of readings. I am certified as a hypnotherapist. I am certified by the Sylvia Brown Training Hypnosis Center in Campbell, California. That's where I did my training. I am a psychic counselor, a little bit different from your psychic readers that you get. I'm a psychic counselor because there's some counseling in what I do. And I also dabble into astrology. So I do a lot of different modalities.
You have a lot of interest.
Absolutely. Plus, I was involved with Therapeutic Touch very heavily. I used to be on the board of Therapeutic Touch. And with that, basically, that's why I always kind of guide a lot of people with the work that we do here to Therapeutic Touch first. I'll tell you why. It's because you learn how to ground, how to center, and how to accept the energies, receive, and really deal with energies. Because when we get into this type of modality, doesn't matter what it is. Could be palmistry, could be tarot card reading, could be Psychometry. I don't know if you ever talked about psychometry.
No,
yet.
I haven't. But that might be another show for later.
Psychometry is a really good way to go too. If you're starting to do any types of modalities like this, you really have to learn how to ground and center, and therapeutic touch is your first step to do so.
You're so right on that. Before, in my tarot reading, I've been reading tarots for over 20 years, right? But I did it at my time.
Right.
When I wanted to. I did it for fun. I did it for friends. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
And then when I opened the business, I was so overwhelmed that day I called you. I was just wide open, not knowing how to protect myself. So you, in my mind, saved my life when you sent me to Cherry. You did. And now I use the grounding every day.
Yeah, the grounding and centering is really the pinnacle of what we're going to do. And we have to do that first, because if we don't do that first, then we don't accept the energies and release them when we need to. Because
that's it.
You can make yourself sick if you're not careful.
Yes.
Exactly. And that's even with astrology.
Yes.
I mean, you can deal with people with astrology, and everybody brings in a specific energy. And that energy, if not grounded, can really throw everything off balance.
Yes.
For sure.
So it is, I'll never stop telling everybody the benefits of grounding. And I tell everybody.
Grounding and centering.
Grounding and centering,
yes.
Definitely. It's just a must. It's something that you should be doing every day.
Yes, right.
Without thought. Just automatically do it.
While we're into this podcast, we really should do a podcast on grounding and centering.
I agree 100%.
So that could be one of the up and comings of doing grounding and centering, and the reasons to do it, how to do it, so that everybody out there gets the opportunity to learn how to do it for themselves, because everybody does just a little bit differently. And that way you kind of get used to how to use the energies.
I've been helping one-on-one ever since I've been introduced to grounding. I like a lot of people when they come for a reading, they come in distress. They do, and they just want validation and direction, and they're also an emotional psychic mess too.
Right.
So I share the grounding with everybody. But I've been doing it one-on-one.
Yeah.
So a podcast
on grounding and different types of ways of doing grounding might be just the ticket to get people started in learning their own modality, because there's so much out there that there's so much for everybody that you have to give them the opportunity to really learn from the best. And I believe knowledge is power. So the more knowledge that you know, the more power that you get, the better you become.
100%. It's funny you speak of it. My parents.
Helen Noggle says hi.
Hey Helen, how are you?
Helen.
Crystal Dad says hello.
Hey Crystal.
And Nanny Jackie says hi.
Hey Mom. We've actually been getting so into our talk that we've been neglecting. Sorry everybody. I'm glad to see you all join us. But actually, speaking about my mom's one of my biggest supporters. She's an amazing lady. But my parents are kind of hippies.
Right.
My name is Carrie Lee, right? All run on. My brother's name is Jason Lee. And my dad had long hair all my life. My parents are hippies. I love them. They're amazing people. But as we were growing up, they were getting more mainstream, right? And now that the store's open, Mom is reconnecting with nature so much.
Good.
And it's just so wonderful to see.
Hug a tree.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hug a tree is right.
Yeah.
Sorry. But it's just so wonderful to see them connecting with nature so much. We keep my phone Wi-Fi on because sometimes people have trouble with that. And they send me personal messages. So I did. But at the end of the night, you're going to have to
Psychometry.
Psychometry
is, I'll tell you what it is. It's when, for instance, say you gave me your ring. Say that's the ring that maybe your grandfather or grandmother gave you, and it's like I wear it all the time because it's a special connection to a dearly departed. You can give me that, and I can do a reading for you from a ring or a book or a piece of clothing, whatever it is.
Mike? Would a picture do as well?
It depends on what it is. And basically what it is you get the energy off of the possession, but it has to be in your possession for quite some time before it actually works quite well.
Okay.
But it's really neat. And scrying too. You haven't done one on scrying yet either.
Well, there's so many topics.
Like I said, there's so many modalities to go into that you need to just keep doing what you're doing and branching out and offering more.
Yeah.
Because the more you offer, the more educated people get, the more people want to get involved. And if they want to get involved, they learn how to do their own.
I agree 100% with empowering and educating people.
Absolutely.
With the tarot reading, the first podcast was about tarot because that's what I knew best, right?
Absolutely.
Shared everything. I will never withhold information for people because I think it's empowering. But Ashley, can you write those down before I forget? Because those are topics I would dearly love to have on the podcast.
Just watch the podcast later. You have every piece of information.
If you think being on camera is hard,
it's not easy. It's not easy when you do a podcast too, because especially when you're live, because anything can go wrong and you can say something not meaning to say. So again, things come and they go very
Yeah.
quickly, especially with something that's live. So I completely understand. where you're
And
coming
I like my list.
Yes.
I feel better with
from.
my
Look,
list.
Look, I need to have my list too.
So, Carrie, you were saying scrying and psychometry. We were going to
Yes.
ask about
And
that.
grounding.
And
grounding.
grounding. Okay,
For
great.
future podcasts.
Yeah, future
Yeah.
podcasts. Just an idea.
Oh,
Or
Robin?
Yep.
let's put it out there a little bit further. If there's anybody out there that is interested in something we have not seen, mentioned, or gone into,
Mention it.
mention it.
We actually do have a list of topics from our viewers.
Good.
Ley lines.
Right.
I'll show you the list later.
Yeah.
But there's people are really involved and they
I'm
want
getting
us to
involved.
cover the topics. The problem is for me finding the people that are knowledgeable
Right.
about it. Because I'm not going to go look a bunch of stuff up on Wikipedia and pretend I know everything.
No.
I want to find the people that are truly knowledgeable. That's why I reached out to you, reached out to Robin.
Which is Sarah.
Exactly. So I did have a question
Sure.
to ask you, and then I totally lost my train of thought. That's my list.
That's all right.
So anyway, so tonight we're going to talk about hypnotherapy.
We are going to talk about hypnotherapy.
So would you like to tell us a bit about the
Absolutely.
history of it, how you became involved?
It's been around for many, many years. If you think back to Sigmund Freud was really into this. Milton Erickson was really into this. This is something I get really interested in because I met Sylvia Browne a number of years ago, and she was retiring. So when I heard she was retiring, my biggest fear was if I don't learn from the master, I'm always going to regret not doing this. So I emptied my bank account and flew to California, and I studied with her. Now, the intensified course that we did, it's not for everybody because you go to school for a good solid 2 weeks is what you do. They keep the room at 50 degrees. It is cold.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because it is so intensified that the work that we do there as we're doing it, they had to keep everybody really alert. So they had to keep the room at 50 degrees, and it was absolutely freezing because we're all wrapped up in blankets and shivering and listening and really attuned to this. Every day we had an exam. So everything we learned, we had to do an exam that day. And then at the end of it, there's a board certifying 50-page exam that you had to get at least 80% or more on.
Wow.
Now that's only passing one side of it, right? Then you have to come home and you have to do case studies. I did 75 case studies, which took me roughly about a year to do so. And then I had to write a thesis on why I felt it was beneficial for me to become a hypnotherapist.
Wow, that's extensive.
And it gets further.
That's involved.
Then I also had to go ahead and I had to petition the board of directors because I am board certified to do what I do. And they basically said yay or nay because I had to go up against the board. And of course, you're sitting there and it's almost like this because you don't get to see them because it is a podcast that you're doing. And you're sitting there going, okay, and why do you feel that you're really the best candidate for this? And you have to really sell yourself on it and sell your thesis on it. And it's just an incredible thing.
I imagine too, they want to make sure you're given great responsibility
Yes.
with the hypnotherapy.
Absolutely.
You're being around vulnerable, exposed people.
Absolutely.
And it's a tremendous responsibility. And I imagine that they just want to make sure you're the right person.
The right fit.
Yeah.
for sure.
Exactly.
So I'm glad to know the training is so extensive.
Very extensive. It's not for everybody. And like I said, a lot of people, they can take the training and then decide, it's like, I'm just not going to do all that and not go further with it. But you really, if you're going to go and invest the money and effort in doing it, you should take it to the next degree. Finish your training and keep going with it. Because every 2 years, 2 to 4 years down the road, we always try to get together to do like a recertification of sorts. And that is maybe taking some more hypnotherapy training or even going and taking more in-depth hypnotherapy training. So there's so much out there for us now because we're the alumni that they want to keep us going and going and going.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
That
really
is great.
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
community, well, you have to do a lot of community education credits as well, which means that you have to go into the public. You have to take, to get recertified, you have to do at least another 150 hours to be recertified again. So it's quite intensified. And because it's so intensified, it's not for everybody. And the biggest misconceptions with hypnotherapy is everybody thinks, oh, I'd never try that because they're going to make me do something really weird, or you're going to touch me inappropriately, or you're going to do something to me. It's like, that's not what it's all about. at
No,
all. It's
no.
clinical. I sit where I sit, you lay down, I talk to you. I have to get specific information because you have to tell me what you want to work on.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what's a little bit different is that I have to use your words. So if I say something in a specific way, do you resonate with that? And it's like, well, no, that's not how I would say it. How would you say it? Because I have to use your words, because if not, everything I'm telling you, you're not really understanding or getting, because it has to come from you.
So you really have to connect.
You do
Yeah,
have to connect.
there would have to be a real
I-
connection there.
Absolutely.
I'm going to digress for a minute.
Okay.
I remember what I wanted to talk
What were you
about.
gonna say?
The super moon, the super blue
Super
blood moon. You've
is
been talking
coming.
about that.
Yes. Well, first of all, we had in January on the 9th, we had 3 planets go direct really quickly. Now, the last time that happened was really interesting because that was when Henry VIII was in power. Now, think back then.
He made a lot of change.
Well, he did a lot of change, but I want to give him a little bit of credit. So he tried to do what's called the right thing. So he tried to, at that point in time, he wanted to marry Anne Boleyn. Now, this is in all the history books, so don't take my word for it. Go ahead, open up the books. I guarantee you it's all going to be there. And there's more in depth than what I'm telling you, too. He wanted to marry Anne Boleyn and divorce his current wife at that point in time.
Catherine of Aragon.
You got it. So Catherine of Aragon, he did not want anything to do with her. He wanted to divorce her. So he goes to the Pope at that point in time, which I'm not sure what his name was, but he went to the Pope and said, I want to get an annulment, because he thought, they don't really, because he was considered Catholic, they don't really believe in divorce. So it's like, could I get an annulment? Well, the Pope said, absolutely not. Because the Pope said absolutely not to that, guess what happened next? He said, all right then, I tried to do the right thing, so now I'm going to overthrow that, pull away from the Catholic Church, and start the Church of England.
The Anglican Church.
So he became the head of the Church of England. He had his annulment and was able to marry Catherine of Aragon. Well, the thing about that was, sorry, not Catherine of Aragon, Anne Boleyn. When he married Anne Boleyn, her biggest fear was, I have to get pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Not only do I have to get pregnant, I have to have a son.
A boy.
Yes, and it has to be a boy, because back in those days, girls were passed over.
Girls were just married.
They were just, the workers could have passed the girl over.
Yeah.
Well, the fear with that was she ended up having a girl, and she thought, oh, this is not good. So that's when he went on his little bit of a tear to start actually beheading people. So he didn't have to get divorced or annulled, and that's where that went. So that happened around January 9th. Now, this is interesting with the blue moon. Keep an eye on what's going on politics-wise.
You mean Donald Trump,
You
the
got
American?
it, yes. Now, I'm not bashing Donald Trump in any way, shape, or form, but I'm going to tell you what's happening there. It's when this happened prior to, I forget which president was in order, but there was an impeachment that happened. So be aware.
Yeah.
We're going to see, no, it wasn't Nixon. It was further back than that.
No, 150 years ago.
Andrew, yeah. It was way before.
Andrew Jackson.
It was Andrew Jackson at that point in time. He was impeached at that point in time. And again, astrology never repeats itself, but the similarities to this could always be that something similar is going to happen with what's coming forth with all of this stuff. And even tonight, before I even got here, and I did this talk in Picto, this wonderful talk that I do every year, which I love the Picto Library for having me, because I give the synopsis of the entire year, telling you what's coming, what's ahead, and what to look forward to. And I said this year especially, we're going to see, you know how last year it was all the stars were getting into trouble with all the, they were having sexual issues, and they were getting in trouble for misconducts and all these types of things. I said this year it's going to be changed to the politicians. Well, we lost a politician tonight. Do you know? Jamie Bailey.
No.
Hot off the presses, just announced, had to resign due to a misconduct. Check your local listings for that.
Wow.
And that was on TV today. And like I said, I'm like, we're seeing stuff like this happening now, which I talked about. And when it's happening, I'm like, I talked about this. I can't believe this just happened. And this is just what I was talking about.
Yeah.
So I am even amazed myself that the stuff that I'm bringing up and talking about, as it comes to fruition, I'm even baffled going, I didn't expect it to be like that, or I didn't expect it to come out that way. When it does, it's like, okay, yes, this is what I was talking about. So it's almost like a validation for me at that point.
I get that.
Yeah.
I truly do.
With the super moon, this is all about speaking your truth, finding yourself. So with the super moon, my challenge to every person, even you guys here too tonight, is you need to really speak your truth. If there's somebody you want in your life, if there's somebody you want out of your life, if there's something you want to change in your life, this is the time to speak your truth and come forward and tell the truth about what your desires truly are and go after it, because you're having such power come behind us, because this doesn't happen in 150 years, that this type of power is magnified so much that what's ahead of us, anything can happen to anybody if you truly believe it's possible. So you really need to take a chance on yourself. So whatever you're looking for, what was your question?
No, I was just saying that you said like anything can happen
Yes.
and all this stuff. My mom did a tarot card reading for me the other day, just kind of since I volunteer /work here, and she looked at me, she's like, you're in a really good spot right now to do anything. Like
Right.
anything can happen to you right now.
And that's what this full moon is coming in with, because it's a super moon, it's a blue moon, and it's a rare lunar eclipse that hasn't happened in 150 years.
Yeah.
So it's good.
It's powerful, and it brings change. And something that's so rare, the magnification of the change is so profound that if you don't set your intention as to what you're wanting to bring in, to accomplish, to do, then you're really going to miss out on this new moon.
I actually find it's been reflecting in the cards a lot. In two ways. One, it's the cards are screaming, go for it on the daily reading.
Do it.
The second is it's also talking introspection.
Yes.
Search yourself.
Yeah.
That's
Find what you're looking
up.
for. Seek out your truth. Go after what you're wanting. Even if there's, say, your love life's in crisis, and I want somebody. Well, go after it. Take a chance on what you want and watch it come back to you.
Excellent. Well,
And that's-
thank you.
Oh,
Sorry.
it's really exciting. I'm just really excited
Yeah.
about this
I'm-
super moon because it's so big.
I'm really happy you consented to share
Yeah.
about the supermoon because you came here to do hypnotherapy.
Yes.
So I just want
Oh,
to say
no,
thank
no.
you for that.
And like I said, I also have, it's called Mystic Knights Fan Club, which is on Facebook. And I have this all listed for you, but I'm also have on there, and it hasn't been posted yet, is how to deal with the energy of this crazy, rare lunar thing that's happening to us, because you're going to find a lot of people having a hard time with dealing with these energies,
Yeah.
especially if you don't know how to deal with it. And I have a 5-step as to what you need to do to handle this type of lunar energy coming forth. So it's
I
going
shall
to
be
be
looking
exciting.
for that
And
one.
that's on your
Yeah.
Facebook?
It's not there yet, but it's going to be
oh,
soon.
okay.
50
It will be.
about the card reading.
Great.
Oh, we need to check in with our card reading because we need a number.
Oh, we'll do that at the end of the show.
then.
I'm just reminding Kyle to put the announcement for the people that are joining
Yes.
us now.
Yeah.
Between what?
1 and 50. So I'm going to move on to the next question.
Okay.
How does it work?
Well, it's very simple. You would come into me and basically you're going to sit down with me. So unlike, again, when we do readings and stuff like this, and basically astrology as well, really different because you're going to come in and you're going to give me specific information as to what it is you want to do. For instance, if you have issues with losing that last 10 pounds and you think, okay, I'll just have one session and that'll do it for me. Well, how long did it take you to get that 10 pounds on there?
True.
Probably took more than just one session to get it on there. So what I truly believe in is getting as much information as possible, seeing where your issues are, and then basically, based upon the information that you give me, I'm able to go in and actually put you into trance and then help you with that situation.
So it's more healing as opposed to doing a cold reading.
Right.
Excellent.
And a better way to describe it to you is that if I were to tell you right now today, in 2 weeks, you're going to lose 10 pounds. You're going to go, oh, yeah, right. That's not going to happen, right? So you're not going to believe it to be true because to you, that is in your conscious mind, that is so far-fetched to you, like there's not even a possibility. But when I get you into trance, I'm talking directly to your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind knows I would never lie to you.
Okay.
So the first thing I say is, you're going to lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks. And it's like, okay. And your subconscious mind accepts it, and you lose 10 pounds in 10 weeks.
Oh,
Wow.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. But there's a little bit more to it than that.
And I
So
imagine you still have to work. You
Yes.
couldn't keep taking that 2
Well,
weeks, like
let's
every
go.
day.
No. When you come in to see me, I am very clinical. So you come in, there's specific forms that I'm bound by law to actually fill it with you. So that's the hardest part. You have to give me specific information. Then we have to, don't hide back, don't hold back. So if there's something that you really want to do, you have to tell me the truth about it. Don't kind of go, I like to do that. But then after the course, it's like, oh, I really wish I would have done this. So make sure you're telling me exactly what you wanted to accomplish. Then I write it. And then as soon as I have as much information that I need, then we're ready to start the session.
Okay.
You're going to need about an hour and a half with me. An hour and a half, one, for me to fill out the forms, to put you into trance. And the first time, it's like everything. You're going to be nervous of me. I'm strange to you. You don't know who I am. Yes, you're comfortable with coming in to see me, but you don't know what to really feel and expect. So the first time, you benefit. You really, truly do. But then I give you homework. And the homework is, I expect you to do these specific things for me, and you can't come back until you do them.
Well, I think that's good because everything's give and take.
Yes, and this is an accountability thing. So basically, you're coming to me. I want to help you. I do.
But
But-
we have to do something to help
Right.
ourselves.
So the onus has to go back to you for you to say, okay, I did do my homework. I did do what you told me. And now I want to go further with this and go a little bit deeper and work in these areas.
I also think, too, people get a sense of reward and they value more what they put effort into.
Yes.
When it becomes too easy, there's no value to it.
Absolutely.
You know.
I want to tell you a little something. Of course, I always have my notes with me because I'm somebody who likes to be very well versed with everything I'm telling you about, right? So let's talk about this. And of course, for me to read this, I have to take these off. Not as young as I used to be. Sorry. Put
Yeah,
it
it's
down
funny.
there.
To read, I have to put on special glasses.
So let's talk about psychoanalysis. This is with a psychotherapist. This is somebody who studied a doctorate level to psychotherapy. And the recovery rate for somebody coming and doing psychotherapy is about 38%. How many sessions do you think you'd have to have?
Oh, a lifetime.
600 sessions. Now that's just with the
Wow.
psychotherapy. And like I said, if you don't have medical that's going to cover that, that's going to get a little pricey
Yeah.
after a while. Not everybody has that ability, especially in our small area, because our area, people don't have a lot of money. So that's going to be quite extensive to do. A behavior therapist, this is a person that deals with specific behaviors, behavior issues. 72% recovery rate, 72%. How many sessions?
Oh, I'd have to say around 400 or 500.
22.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
wow.
22 for behavior therapy. Now let's go hypnotherapy. That's why I get so excited when I talk about this. Hypnotherapy, 93% success rate.
Wow.
93%, which means if you truly don't believe that it's working for you, if you truly don't believe it's going to benefit you, it's not going to benefit you because basically you've given up on it. 93% success rate. How many sessions?
5?
6.
Oh, wow.
6 sessions.
What
So,
a difference.
I mean, I ask you, what do you want to do?
I want to go the most effective treatment.
And this
Exactly.
This is the most effective as long as you're willing to work with it and do your homework. As long as you're willing to work with what I'm doing for you, you're speaking your truth, you're telling me what you want to work on, and then basically we take it from there and I send you home with a bunch of homework. Because the first thing I ask you is, did you do your homework? Because if not, you're not really benefiting yourself. And James is here. He did this with me, right? So he knows. I put it back and I said, did you do your homework?
Yeah.
Well, yes, I did
Yeah.
some of it. But, and then, okay, it's like, all right, so what didn't you do? So I had to find that out first because if there's something you didn't do, then I need to know that because now we have to go in there and we have to work on that area that you didn't do because is there a blockage in that area?
Mhm.
Is there an issue in that area? Do we need to go deeper in that area? So that's what this is all about. Go
Excellent.
ahead, what are you going to say?
Eileen Baker said, is it my internet that's having the problem?
It could be your internet, yes. But don't worry.
Are we
This-
having issues with the podcast?
Doesn't look like it.
Technical issues?
But
for
if she's having technical difficulties at the end of this, because this is recorded, she'll be able to see and watch this all over again later on.
yeah. Could someone comment in, tell us how the show is viewing, the sound, the volume, the internet connection?
I thought we were doing great.
Me too. Well, the flow was
So
really
the
good.
flow-
It was
yeah.
going really well.
But I also want to say, anybody, if you have any questions, this
Mhm.
show is interactive. It doesn't have to be just my questions. We encourage questions and comments from everybody watching. This show is your show. We're
Yes.
trying to bring the information to you. So if you have any questions, please ask. We'll respond to them. That's why Kyle sits there at the computer for the whole show, letting us know your comments and questions. So I am going to go on to my next one while
Okay.
we're waiting.
Yeah.
You already covered the training.
Yes.
And you already covered, does it work on everybody? And if people
You
are,
have to want it.
yes,
It's with anything. For instance, I have people that come to me that want to quit smoking after 45 years. You're not going to do it in one session.
no,
I
Oh,
guarantee
for
you.
sure.
If it's
Yeah.
taken you 45 years to start smoking and to be smoking, I'd love to say yes, it'll work for you in one session, but I guarantee it probably won't.
but you know what? As a smoker,
Yeah.
to know that there's not a miracle
Yes,
cure for it. Do you know what I
yes.
mean? For you telling me right off the bat that it gives me like, okay, good. Like I'm not an abject failure. It's just you're right. It took
It's
me
going to take
45
It
years to
takes
become a
some time.
smoker.
It won't take that much time, but it will take a little bit more time than just one session with me.
Yeah.
And why is that? Well, let me tell you. Because we talk about the different wavelengths within your brain, right? So the gamma, like we're talking right now, this is gamma. So we're talking gamma. Then we go into beta, which is your alert, your action, everything you're doing. Then you go into the alpha. Then once you get to the theta, that's where I do all my work.
Oh,
The
okay.
theta level is where I take you. And what is the theta level? That's the one that feels like sleep. You know those nights where I'm really asleep, but I'm really awake, but I'm really asleep? That's kind of how the feeling could be for somebody.
You're kind of asleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're aware of everything around you. It happens to me a
Absolutely.
lot.
Yeah,
I'm aware of everything around me,
But
but,
I-
I'm not awake.
right. But I am asleep. And
Yeah.
that's the type of feeling it is. Or somebody could fall completely asleep on me. Fantastic. Guess what? I'm not stopping. I'm going to get in there. I'm
Yeah.
doing the work that I'm doing because your subconscious mind is saying, yes, I want this.
Okay,
And-
Mike, that being said,
Yeah.
does a person remember the session after they wake up or
Yeah,
whatever.
most do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or if you don't, you notice
You know
subtle
it
change.
subconsciously anyway.
All of a sudden
so-
you wake up and you go, I feel different. I feel really different. Or something's changed. I might have fallen asleep through a little bit of it, but you know what? All
There's
of
a
a sudden
shift.
now I feel totally like a different shift within me now, which is really kind of exciting when it happens, right? So it happens quite often.
Oh,
And that's kind of a benefit to me because when this happens to me, I'm really flattered by that. It's like, you trust me. Yes, you trust me. So now I can go and do the best work for you because I can get you to that level faster. And some people, when I'm relaxing you, they can, sometimes I get to your hips, you're gone. You're gone, you're out, and you're like, wow, that was the most incredible thing I've ever experienced. And it's because you're really absorbing what I'm giving you at that point.
excellent.
Yeah. Now, you probably want to know a little bit more about the session too,
Yes.
right? Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the session. There is past life regression. Past life regression.
That was another one of my questions.
Past life regression is really exciting because it can unleash a lot of different things about past lives and issues and problems that you have in this lifetime. I'm going to share something that I had because what we had to do, of course, when we do these types of things, especially when we're learning how to do hypnotherapy, we have to do it on each other. And one of the things that I did was I actually had to do a session, but I had to come up with something. And of course, me being me, I mean, I had a great childhood, I had a great family, and great upbringing. I really couldn't think of anything. So I'm like, what can I think of? So that night, the whole class went out. We all went out for a drink so we could figure out what we were going to really work on the next day. So I said, okay. And the girls were around me and we were talking. It's like, well, what about this? I'm like, no, I'm good with that. And everything was good throughout the night. But every so often, if a guy would come around and I didn't know him, my hand would go over top of the glass and I would drink it, but I wouldn't leave it. Or if I put it down and I came back and there was a bunch of men around that I didn't know, I wouldn't drink the drink. I'd go get another one. And I'm like, all of a sudden, of course, unconsciously I was doing this, right? So to me, I didn't know what was happening with this. I wasn't even conscious of it. But a girl beside me, she said, why do you keep doing that? And I'm like, do what? Because to me, it was done so unconsciously that I had no conscious recollection that I was actually doing it. She said, watch, every time a guy comes around, you put your hand over your glass, you'll drink it. But if one of the girls are around, you'll drink it with no problem whatsoever. I did a past life regression the next day. Guess what happened?
Someone drugged you.
Somebody
I was
you or
poisoned.
something.
Poisoned
Exactly.
twice in 2 former lives.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I've had 42 lives.
Wow.
Throughout those 42 lives, I've been poisoned twice. And each time I was a man of power. I was in some sort of a powerful type of role. And each time they tried to steal my power, and I docked to my death each time.
That's scary.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
But I released it because this is what the coolest part of this. After I did the past life regression, I was the last one coming to dinner because we all ate together as well because we were really close knit. And that night, I was the last one coming to supper, and I sat down at the head of the table because that was the last chair. And the waiter came over and he said, "What do you want to drink?" And the first thing I think of is I like to have a nice frosty glass of water because I was still kind of coming out of what I just went through. And he wanted my order because everybody else had ordered. And what did I do? As soon as he put the drink down, I took it and I drank it in front of him. Every eye went to me
Oh, wow.
because it was like, oh my God. And then it's like, we can't believe he just did that. And I'm like, I can't believe I just did that either. Because to me, I was like, I can't believe that just happened. And it was released. And ever since then, I've never had an issue again.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
That is incredible.
Yeah.
That's like incredible.
Yeah.
Have we got any comments? Don't forget, people, guess your numbers for the reading. Mike is going to do the reading at the end of the show. And have we got any comments about the internet connection?
Quite a few people are having good internet.
Good.
I think it's
Okay.
just her connection.
Okay.
Okay.
We're sorry, Helen.
Arlene.
Sorry, Arlene. Just keep watching. And as Mike said, the show is recorded. You will be able to get it all later because it's a great one. You definitely don't want to miss it. So,
Can we go a little further? Because this
Yes.
isn't just this. This isn't just past life regression that we do either. So we have something that's called cell memory. Now, cell memory is really interesting because if, say that you had some specific ailment, that I could actually take you back to a time when you were healthiest and pull those cells forward to aid in your healing.
oh, wow.
So that's a pretty profound way of doing this.
So, would that be good for like cancer patients?
Yeah, I actually was very fortunate. One of my first really big successes was I dealt with a cancer patient that was going through going through chemo and all that nasty stuff that they were going through. And basically, I used to go there more frequently because most times when I do hypnotherapy, it's like I'll go and then you'll come back and see me in either a month or a few weeks afterwards. because they were in such bad shape and having such issues, I was going more frequently, and we worked a lot in their cell memory to aid in their healing,
Okay.
which really was beneficial.
Jim, I'm going to get you to open that door for a bit. My face is turning red. I
Yeah,
can feel it.
It gets a little warm.
It is warm, but also I think, because I've been sitting here all day and shivering, you've got a
Yes,
very strong
of course.
aura around you.
Yeah, for sure.
I
So,
have a question about the cell.
Yes, cell memory.
Now, what about somebody with a mental health issue? Could you bring them back to more when they were healthier?
What we would have to do with
What
a
about
mental health issue is we would have to take them back until prior to that beginning. So if we knew the moment in time prior to that beginning, so we would have to regress them back to the point where that first initially started and then work from there.
And what about somebody that might have like a drug addiction or an alcohol problem?
Oh,
or
absolutely.
something?
Yeah, those definitely, for sure. But again, you have to give me specific details as to when did the issue start? When did the addiction really start to become an issue for you? And when did you notice it and not do it prior to? And you take me back to that time, and then I actually help you with that at that point.
I don't know if you're aware,
Amazing.
my background is healthcare.
Yeah.
That's what I used to do before I opened the store. So it's just like going to the doctor.
It is.
You have to be candid. You have to be explicit.
You have to be transparent. You
Yeah.
can't, I mean, if you want to hold things back, you're not going to benefit from the session.
You're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and it's almost going to be, and then you're going to leave and say, well, that really didn't work for me. And it's like, well, you didn't tell me to work on that. I only did what you told me to work on. So that's all that's going to be worked on at this point. So if you wanted me to go in a different direction, then you have to be open about it. You have to be honest about it. You have to tell me what it is you want.
And you
then,
keep confidentiality.
of course.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there so
Oh.
everybody else knows that if they go to you, they're perfectly safe.
One of the things about what I do, and even when we did our training, we were told that once we fill out all the forms with our clients, we have to keep them for 5 years. Say that you did something really bad. Not that you would, of course, but if you did something bad and say that the police came in to see me and said, did she come to see you? I would have to say, yes, she came to see me. And then I have to call my advisors in California and say, there's somebody here asking questions, and what do I do? And basically I hand the phone over to them and they take it from there. And then they tell me what I can do. And basically I'm not allowed to divulge any information except that you came to see me, you had a session, and whatever happened in that session, happened in that session. It's nothing that I can discuss with anybody else.
So people could bare their soul knowing
They
that
do.
it's safe.
Yeah.
They do.
And that's just what I wanted
Yeah.
to establish, that it's completely safe.
Yeah.
And the more honest you are, the
Oh,
more you're
yeah.
going to get out of it.
And
Oh, for
people
sure.
tell me things in confidentiality that I can't disclose to anybody. So I know a lot of things about a lot of people, but that's not something I'm going to tell anybody because that's not what I do.
It's a good thing your
Yeah.
powerful suit this time is
Yeah.
not dealing in
Yes.
secrets.
Yes.
I'm just trying to make it
But
a
I'll
little
tell you,
bit-
I do have an ethical clause as well that they have to sign. I have to sign as well, which means that you can talk about the session. You can talk about what I did, how I did it, when I did it, what I did. That's me. And all that kind of fun stuff. But just to let you know that I'm not allowed to discuss it whatsoever. Like I have to basically say very transparent. So even if you said, "Oh, did my husband come to see you for his issue?" and I'm like, "Well, your husband came to see me. I don't know if he had an issue." Like I can't really divulge anything, so I'm not allowed to say anything about what really took place there at that point.
Doctors do that too with kids. I have 6 kids, and I've taken to the doctor, and there'd be points, and the doctor's point would they'd be like, "Can you leave? I need,"
Yes.
and I just try to respect. So it's good. People are safe,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
the important.
Oh, completely safe with everything that's going on. Going a little bit further, what if you in your past had some sort of abuse? What if you had an abusive issue? Maybe you were 8 years old and all of a sudden you can't get past 8, or there's issues that everything that you remember was just 8 years old. From there forward, there was like a blank period. And maybe there was some sort of an issue there. That's called age regression. And what I do is I basically take you back to the time of that, help you release it, see it as a movie, release it, and then take you away from it so it doesn't affect you future forward. So that's called age regression.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool too.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, it is.
You might actually
Sometimes
feel grown up.
the thing
Yeah,
about it is, if
yeah.
you're going to do a past life regression, you have to make sure, and that one of the questions that you will be asked, is there any trauma, any issue, any problems in the here and now that we need to address before I take you back? Because you can say, I want to do past life regression, and I can get so far, and all of a sudden it's like, why are you stopping at 16? And I'm like, something happened to you at 16? It's like, oh yeah, this happened to me at 16. It's like, okay, then we have to take care of 16, and then I can take you back. Because once I release whatever blockages is within this life, I can take you back as far as the Egyptian times and medieval times. Crazy. Like sometimes it's not uncommon for people to change sexes as well. that happened to me before, and it's kind of startling when it happens because you can get somebody very feminine, and all of a sudden they're talking like a man, and it's like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting that to happen. And of course, you have to keep everything internal because they're experiencing this, and there's a reason for them to experience what they're experiencing because there's something that they need to know what took place there. And then what I do with the past life regression is I record it and I talk about it and I write what's actually happening. So where are you now? What are you doing? What's around you? Are you okay? Do you feel safe? No, I don't feel safe. Or you start to really experience discomfort. You're not feeling any discomfort. You're fine. You're safe. Just tell me what you're seeing. See it like a movie. So I actually make it a little bit easier for you that way. So I take it away from you. So, and if you really start to panic and get really, upset about things, I really say, you're safe, you're fine, you're okay. Come away from that. We're going to come a day ahead. And all of a sudden that situation, whatever happened, is over. And they can tell me what happened at that point in time.
Have you ever had to bring people out of the trance?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Because it was just such a
So
jolt,
overwhelming.
so overwhelming. And there was so much trauma to it. It's like, okay, I'm going to release you now. You're coming out, you're coming out, coming out, coming out. And then as soon as I get them out, I said, how you doing now? And then most times when that happens, it's like, I want to go back. I need to go back there right now and do that. And I usually allot time to go back in and actually take care of whatever that blockage was to release it so it doesn't affect your future forward. Because a lot of our blockages, believe it or not, come from past lives.
I would believe that.
Yeah,
Very
I
true.
certainly believe
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Like the poisoning for me. I mean, if you would have told me that I was poisoned in former lives, I'd be like, you're crazy. What are you talking about? But when I went under past life regression and I experienced it, I was like, wow, I was poisoned in 2 former lives. And when it was released from me, it was such a validation to have a drink of water in front of a man because it was the men that were giving me the poison, right? So that was a really big emphasis there, which was really kind of neat.
And it was empowering.
Empowering, very empowering for sure. There's also one of the biggest ones that we deal with is called behavior modification. So a lot of times, most of my work is with behavior modifications. So you'll come to me, maybe you have issues with alcoholism, maybe you have issues with confidence, depression, sports performance, self-esteem, anxiety, weight loss, smoking, drinking, anything really, because anything that you could think about having done for a behavior modification, I can help you with. So that's what behavior modifications actually do. So these are ones I do majority of. So say, for instance, you came in and said, I want to lose 100 pounds. I can help you with that.
So what if a person had OCD
Yes.
and established rituals?
Yes.
Could you help with that?
You would have to tell me specific truths about what your rituals were. Now that's, again, because you have to really be comfortable with me to disclose specific information. So you'd have to be honest and tell me, what are your rituals? Could you show me your rituals so that I could actually help you with, you don't have to do those anymore, and you can actually have those released from you. That probably would take about maybe 3 sessions, I would imagine.
Really?
Yeah. Only because of the factor that it's taken so long for you to ingrain this in you to do it, you're not going to get rid of it in 1 session. It's going to take 2, it might take 3, it might take more.
3 is actually
3
lower
is
than I
really-
thought.
Oh yeah,
It might
I
take
think
more,
that's an absolutely.
It all depends on how receptive you are to me, how open you are with me, and honest with me. And then you have to do homework, which means that I have to give you homework that you have to really do. And then once you call me for your next appointment, it's like, did you do your homework? And I'm really on that because the accountability has to be to the person to succeed with this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's endless. I mean, anything that you want to release from yourself is what you can do with behavior modification.
Cool.
It's totally up to
I
you.
might be calling you about the OCD.
Okay.
Kyla, have we got any questions or comments?
We do that one.
Well, that's actually really interesting.
Past life is really crazy. It really, truly is. Like I said, when I had it done, I had a hard time because I had a really great upbringing.
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate because I came from a family that's very accepting of what I do, the types of works that I do, and it was always an accepted thing. So to me, this is normal. All this kind of work that people do like this to me was always normal. So for me to come up with some sort of an issue, it was really hard. And I was like, no, I'm pretty good. And they're like, you must have something. And everybody around me is like, you must have something that you could want to work on. And I'm like, I really don't know what it could be. Until that happened, I was unconsciously not aware that I was actually doing it. And then once it was released, it was like this big weight was lifted. And I felt incredible after that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Like you, my parents and my family are so accepting
Yeah.
of my oddities.
Yeah, like I was like,
But
my
it's-
individuality.
But you have to understand, it's not an oddity what we do. What we do,
Not to us,
it's a different way of looking at life. And
but to a lot of people, they can't understand why I carry stones in my bra.
But those are just
Neat.
crystals.
Yeah.
Right?
But I
I
can
got a
understand.
question.
Yes.
Do we carry our bad habits from past lives?
Yes, we do. Yeah, we do carry a lot of our bad habits from our past lives. And a lot of times, a lot of the things that we have, especially in relationships too, I see this a lot with people with relationship issues, whereas it seems to be the same thing happens over and over and over again. Or somebody will come in and say, okay, my love life is a mess. And every time it's a mess, I keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. I'm like, okay, well, let's do a session on that to see what we can do to release that from you to open you up to love again. And that works so well.
Excellent.
Really, really well. Yeah.
Right here.
Having trouble with
Who
love?
asked the question?
You know, having
Maybe
trouble
Josh.
with love?
Mom, that was a
Not
great
having any
question.
No, I'm excellent.
Okay, good.
Right, she's perfect.
Yeah, if there's anything like that, we're definitely going to have that stuff released from you. But
Yeah.
again, as I said before, any type of session that I do for you with hypnotherapy, you have to do at least 2. At least 2. And then what I do is I always say afterwards, it's up to you. If you want to come back again, absolutely. I'd love to have you back again. But you have to be the one to aid in your own healing, which means that you have to decide when to come back to me for me to do what I have to do for you.
That really resonated with me.
Yes.
I tell people you're your own best advocate.
Yes.
If your doctor seems to be ignoring you, just keep pushing it because this is a concern to you. They don't know your body. They only have so long. You're your own best advocate. You have to push sometimes to get
Fight for
the
yourself.
treatment
Yeah.
that you need. You know, we know ourselves better than 15 minutes in a doctor's appointment, right?
Absolutely.
Like if you're feeling off and you can't describe it,
And not just that, it's really easy to put the onus on your therapist. Like you can come from one session and go, oh, it didn't work for me. Well, did you do your homework and go back for another session? Well, no. And I'm like, well, then you didn't aid in your own healing. So basically, I did what I had to do. But if you're not willing
Yeah.
to take it that step further, I can't. There's
You
no way
did
it's
your
gonna,
part,
right.
but
There's no way it's going to
patient
help you.
didn't do theirs.
Yeah. So we really need to put the onus back to the person to aid in their own healing, and that's so important.
that's the best kind of feeling.
Absolutely.
It is. It truly is.
I like even my like the psychiatrist associated with the actual mental health clinic. Pretty much every week he'd be sending me home with like a sheet or write down stuff he'd want me to do like once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks. And
Yeah.
there was one time when I was starting to get fed up with all the appointments and all that stuff. I found a sheet of homework I ended up not doing. I showed Dad.
But that's the onus.
everything.
See, us as therapists like this, we have to go back and we have to really insist. Did you do your homework?
Yeah, and
And
he
I
asked me that
really
every
need
week.
you to do the homework because that's only aiding in your own healing. Because
Yeah.
if you don't do it, you're not aiding in your own healing.
I
And
would also think it emphasizes and reinforces.
it does, yeah. And you have to be truthful too. So if you're coming in and you want to deal with your love life, but you're telling me that it's eating habits, and I work on the eating habits, and it's like, well, you didn't help me with your love life. And I'm like, you didn't tell me about your love life. So how can I help you with something that I don't know about? So you really have to be 100% transparent and honest with me. I'm not going to tell anybody. I don't do that. I am secure as you can possibly be with everything that we go through. And I'm not allowed to divulge anything either. So
I think too, personal interaction.
yes.
The more trust you build, the more you're around people.
And like I said, every session, you come for one, you're going to be really nervous. So you're going to be like, oh God, what's this going to be like? So you're going to benefit, but not as much as the second time. Because the second time it's like, oh, I know what's going to happen now. So I just go and I do what I have to do. And it's like, wow, like I get halfway up to relaxing you and you're gone.
And
And it's like, okay, well, that was one of the best sessions that we had. And it's because you're comfortable with me.
Yeah.
And you know what to expect and you know what I'm going to do. Because I explain everything in very great detail, what we're going to do and how we're going to do it.
So my next question, is there ever any complications from the hypnotherapy?
No, there's no really any complications except for one thing. How you deal with it could be different for each person. So again, if you don't take the time to do the homework, what if you may find yourself emotional? What if it's you're holding on to a lot of emotional things and, wash it over you or let it go? If you're finding that I just have to let things go, when you have those types of releases, respect them, journal them, talk about them, and then call me to say, is this normal? Because I really told somebody about one time a blockage that they had. And when you release it, you'll let it go and you'll feel so good. Well, they came back to see me and said, I'm crying all the time. And I'm like, good. That's part of the healing process because you're supposed to cry it through. And then once you do, you feel better. And she's like, I feel better. And it's like, so that it didn't resonate until you came to see me the second time. But that's what can happen sometimes. But there's no
That's
no
wonderful because there's so many
complications.
side effects and a lot of
No,
other
no
healing.
complications with this. The only thing about this is don't just do one session Don't not do the homework.
And open your mind.
Right. And then don't come back for the second session. Really commit to what you're doing. So when you commit to me, you're committing to 2 sessions with homework. And then once you do that, then you can take it from there.
Okay.
So, Mike, can you do sessions for maybe 2 different things at the same time
sure
if
can.
they're related or
Yeah.
whatever?
As long as you give me your terminology, I need to use your words.
Yes.
So if I'm going to tell you I'm going to do this modality this way, it's like, well, that doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, oh, okay. How would you say it to me? So you have to give it to me how you would actually say it.
Oh,
I have
okay.
a question.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got
Oh,
another
we have a
question.
question. Sure.
Crystal Gaudet asked, in each lifetime, do we have a different personality type?
We can, yeah, very much so, have a different personality type altogether. But you want to hear something creepy? It's not really creepy, but it's quite interesting, I found this, the first time it happened to me, I found it quite creepy because it was like, ooh, that say that it was her husband now could have been her father.
Oh, wow.
Or-
That is a bit creepy.
Or she could have been like the daughter, right? The reverse roles. What's also interesting, and this is really kind of neat for me to explain to you, is they're talking a lot nowadays about transgender, and I'm like, I so understand transgender. Can I tell you why I understand it? It's because in different lives, guess what we do? We swap sexes.
Yeah.
You can be a woman in one. You can be a man in another. You can decide what sex you want to be in every different life.
Does your soul or your, because I'm assuming that's what's going on,
Yeah.
does it have a gender?
You get to pick. It's gender identified based on you.
Because
So
sorry.
when you're born, you can decide that you want to be a girl. Or when you're born, you want to decide you can be a boy. But you could be one of many. Like I've had women come into me, do a past life regression, and they were really butch men in former lives. And I'm like, that's really kind of neat and crazy and interesting because they even start talking like them. And I'm like, I'm loving this because I'm really into it when it's happening because it's like, wow, it's like, and sometimes it's shocking because when you hear these voices coming out of these people, it's like, okay. And of course, me as a therapist has to go, oh, we didn't expect that to happen that way. And then, of course, you're talking your way through it. But to swap sexes is the most normal thing.
When you first said that, that reinforced to me, like, yes, homosexual is natural. Like, it's in you.
Well,
it's born in
Think about
you.
that for a second. If you were a man in a former life, right? And then all of a sudden you came back as a woman in this life. And all of a sudden now you're attracted to women. Doesn't that make sense? Absolutely.
It does.
Because if you were a man in a former life that was attracted to women, and then you come back again, reincarnated into this life, and you're attracted to women, that resonates because that's what you were before. You were once a man, so now you're attracted to a woman.
For me, it's a personal thing. I had two uncles. They're passed away now. They were gay.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I was proud of them. They were my favorite uncles. I loved them, right? But with my grandfather,
Right.
they had to hide. And I, being a child, I couldn't understand why they couldn't just be
Absolutely.
themselves.
Absolutely.
And he really had a hard time admitting it. And I know it's his upbringing and stuff, but I think it did damage the relationship because my two uncles couldn't be themselves.
Right.
Like, they could be themselves with us. We didn't care. But, you know, I think that's a hard...
But does that make sense about the transgender?
Yes.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
if we're swapping sexes all the time, if you're a man in one and then a woman in one, yes, it's perfectly natural for a man to be attracted to a man because he was probably a woman in a former life. Perfectly normal, right?
We get another question.
Of course.
Joe Cameron Stewart asked, do you record sessions for clients?
I do. Yeah. Depending on parts of the sessions that I do, but I do record sessions as well. Yeah.
So you know what a huge shock is?
It's
It's like 8 o'clock.
is it really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That podcast went by in
so
5
fast.
minutes.
Fast.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's
So
gone.
did we cover everything?
I think we covered everything. A lot of times people do hypnotherapy for motivation too. So they want to get motivated. They want to find a way to feel inner motivations. Sports athletes do a lot of this stuff to really kind of put them in the zone, to recreate what they're going to do, and then they actually go and do it. So a lot of this is done with sports athletes as well. So there's just so many areas that hypnotherapy can do. If you're going to go see a hypnotherapist, go to a board certified hypnotherapist, somebody that has taken the training and is board certified to do what they're doing for you so they know what to do, right? Just so there's not any issues or problems. Everything I do is very much clinical. So it's done by the book. I have to exactly as it is.
I think the next time we have you on the show, we're just going to book an hour and a half. It just went by.
And I
can't
talk a
believe
lot
it,
too.
yeah.
I'm used to doing stuff like this too, about
You-
talking about what I do. So for me, this is just the most perfectly
You
normal
made a great show, though.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was just a great, very comfortable show. But did you have a question, Jim?
Yes, I have one quick little question.
Of course.
If you had a past life, let's say, or you had a disease in,
Yeah.
or a family issue,
Right.
of some type, could it be carried on to your next life, something like ADD or ADHD?
Yes, it could. Yeah, it definitely could be carried on to the next life. And we can take you back to where you found this first began. And if you go, I don't know where this began, then what I would do is I take you into trance at that point in time and then take you back to where this first began and help you release it.
So another question, kind of similar to Jim's.
Yeah.
So say there were this one person in a past life, right?
Right.
And then in the present day, your parents or your brothers or your sisters, could they have been like some part of your family in a previous life?
Absolutely. And we're all interconnected. Now, don't get me wrong, because this is your mom.
Yeah.
You could have been reverse roles. You could have been the mom.
Ha!
Could have been your
Yeah.
brother. So that's how it can be. So it can be really kind of distorted that way, whereas it's switching roles altogether or switching sexes. Maybe you're both, female in this lifetime.
Maybe
you're
we were
male.
the twins. Ashley's the twin.
It could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you and I were twins and Amber was the mom.
But what's interesting is that it's always interesting when they swap sexes because the person takes over the persona. And it's almost like when I'm experiencing this with a client, I'm watching them change. Like I've watched really burly men change into very petite females. And it was like, wow. And I'm watching this and tell me what you're experiencing. What are you going through? What's happening? And then I've had really petite women come in and change into really burly men. And I'm like, wow, well, tell me what you're experiencing, what you're going, because it's so unique as you're watching it, because it's almost like, okay, tell me more. And sometimes I say an hour and a half for my sessions, but as you know, if I get really into it, it's like, okay, where are we going now? And it's almost like we're going so far that it's like, okay, I'm like, oh, that was 2.5 hours. I'm like, okay, it's time to come out now because I think I've taken too much of your time. And that can happen so easy to me because I really enjoy what I do, right?
Like I've learned about psychotherapy and the past life regressions and everything like that because in high school I took a university course in one of the classes with psychology.
Right.
So we did like a 3-month-long unit just on this, but we could only go so far into each aspect of it because there's so much to learn.
Oh, there's so much you can go into it.
But honestly, it was such an interesting unit in the concept. I loved it.
And this is so
Is there any more
diverse that it can take you into any specific area you need.
Did you get their numbers?
Like it's
And we
incredible.
used to watch like so many different case studies too from like the 60s and 70s and 80s and stuff like that. And we'd have to like analyze each one and figure out what was going on and stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, Jim, can you pass us a book? So, everybody, you got like 2 more minutes to put your numbers in. We need a book so Mike can lay out the cards, give him a bit of a firm surface. A bigger one, please.
Two.
All right, now
I don't know if
we
that's
want
gonna
kind of a
I
bigger.
need something that's going to be a little bit bigger.
Like, so,
Might work. Oh, that'll work.
oh, there we go.
So, Mike is going to do the daily reading. I just, the podcast, I just do a 4-card spread.
Sure.
And,
Can you tell me who I have, male or female? That's all I need to know.
actually, we're going to reveal the number. So, we're not seeing any more comments. And because we did run over tonight,
Sorry.
and no, it's me too. I was fascinated and totally engrossed. I think we all were.
Everybody was.
Yeah. And it went by, that hour was 5 minutes. So, but anyway, so 13. Mike chose the number 13. Whoever guessed that number
I resonate with 13.
is going to get a free reading tonight.
And Carrie,
The closest without going over.
the Carrie was so gracious because I didn't know I was doing this. She lent me her cards, so these are
Yes.
not my normal cards that I usually use.
I ambushed him.
Uh,
I didn't give him any chance. He came in, I was like thrusting the cards. You get to do the reading tonight. So Helen Noggle, what number did she have? 7. She's the closest without going over. It was lucky 13. And I think Helen got a free reading already once.
Wow.
She's a good guesser.
Yeah.
Or really needs to get a message.
Well, Helen's message for tonight is this. What was her last name again?
Helen Noggle.
Helen Noggle. Well, Helen is coming into one of the most incredible years she's ever experienced because there's a lot of change around her that's going to put her into such a direction that she's not going to know what's going to hit her. So it's really important to start really focusing on where she's headed, what she wants, and where she wants to be, because this is going to be one of the best years she's ever had.
Oh, yay.
Now, the thing about this is, here's the problem with that. It probably has been very slow lately. Has it been slow lately? Probably. But it's really showing me here that it's probably been very slow lately to pick up. But by the end of this year, this will be a year she won't soon forget. So it's going to be pretty darn incredible for her.
Excellent.
There's more. She really has to take care of body too. So it's really important throughout this year. What's really important for me to tell her is, and to convey to her is, really watch what's going on with the health. Really watch what's going on with any types of instabilities within the body, and any types of weight gain. Anything dealing with weight of any sort really has to be really extra especially careful of that at this particular time, because it really shows throughout this year that she could go through a very big Jupiter phase. You know what that means?
I don't know.
Expansion. And we have to be careful of Jupiter, because Jupiter it's all the time we see ourselves putting on a little weight around our middle. So she's got a Jupiter phase in here. So she's got to be very careful with that. This is really saying here, recommendation for Helen for sure. She needs to check out. So whenever her next checkup is going to be, make sure she gets her blood work done, because this is really emphasizing to me that there's something going on sugar related with her at this point. So she's got to really get her sugars checked at this point. So I recommend going to my doctor, get my sugars checked, and going from there. Wow. Now, this is also a year that what Helen's going to have to do is she's going to have to let people help her as well, which means that it doesn't mean she has to do anything in return, but she does have to let people help her on a regular basis, really do specific things. Even if it's the simplest of tasks, she has to really be open to letting people in to help her with whatever way it is. But in return, she only has to do one thing. She has to say thank you and leave it at that. And finally, well, this is a big one. This is a big one. Wow. Love life is really shifting this year for Helen. Ooh, hot and heated. All I can tell you is things are looking pretty interesting for her love life this year. So all I can tell you is be prepared, because you're not going to be prepared about how this year will end, because she has her love life changing, her health is looking good, and she really is coming into a time where her life is going to take new meaning for herself. So 2018 is definitely going to be an interesting year for Helen.
Excellent. I hope that was a good reading for you, Helen. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you, Mike, for doing the reading the prize tonight. And thank you just so much for joining us.
This was a delight. This was fun. And all of you guys made it that much more interesting, because, like I said, I didn't expect to see a whole crowd of people with me tonight. So trying to, if you wonder why I keep looking this way and this way, I have people all around me here. So
yeah.
That's the reason why I was doing it.
It's usually pretty full here during podcasts. Some people like to be here when we're doing them, and also it makes it a lot more comfortable for people that are camera shy, and it helps with the flow. Keep it moving.
Yeah,
There's a few questions here and there.
I have business cards I will leave with you, Carrie. I also have a website, which is www.mystic-mike.com. I also have Mystic Mike's fan club on Facebook if you want to join me there. So
we're going to get Carl to write that in the comments for people.
So you can reach me whatever way you wish to, or if you want to get to talk to me, you want to read with me, whatever you want to do. You want to know more information, just give me a call.
Capitals?
That doesn't matter. No, small.
Mystic-Mike.
Mystic-Mike.com. Yeah.
So that way people
absolutely
can have their time getting that information. And he's got a Facebook page.
And I have a Facebook page which is called Mystic Mike's Fan Club. And what I do there is anything up and coming, without everything happening with the big, 150 supermoon, 150-year supermoon coming forth, I'm telling you how to deal with the energy. So I posted a really big post on there about the supermoon and what's coming, what to look forward to. Now I'm going to tell you how to deal with the energy, because full moons can be kind of crazy, but super full moons and blue moons that are rare intensify.
So what do you think? I was thinking I charge the crystals and the jewelry and the pendulums and everything in the full moon.
Yes.
Good idea with this super moon?
The best you could ever get, especially if you have any moonstone. Do you have any moonstone?
I have a lot of moonstone. I even have a beautiful moonstone pendulum up there.
The moonstone has to go outside first. As the moon
I usually just put it in the ledge of the window because I don't want it outside.
Helen says thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
It doesn't have to go outside, can it? Because that's a nice big window and it gets the moon.
Oh yeah, as long as the moon comes in the window.
Yeah,
absolutely, totally fine.
I just sit it all on the window ledge to charge it up.
Moonstone really important to do during this full moon because it is so darn powerful.
Okay.
And it's going to be seen forever, for a while, especially around the world, especially this emphasis. Now, you're not going to probably feel the emphasis of this on the 31st. You may not. It's probably going to be a month later, 2 months later, 6 months later, whatever your intention you put out, please be specific as to what you want, and that will only give you the best amount of results.
Perfect. Well, thank you again for joining us, and
thank you for having me.
I guess
Intention.
What's that?
Can you have?
You can have more. You can have as many times as you want. But can I recommend something? When I tell people this all the time, if you're going to set intentions for this new super moon that hasn't happened in 150 years, please limit it to 3. Why? If you have 8, 10, 12, can you keep it up? when
No.
you think
No.
about it. So keep it simple. Keep it simple. Keep it to 3, and then you're going to find that it's going to be something you can actually hold.
I do hope you'll join us again
I'd love to. It's
for
fun.
another
Yeah, it's
podcast.
been great. Yeah, just let me know when. And like I said, give me some time to get all my information together, because one of the things I do is, even though I don't use a lot of my information, I always have to have it in front of me. I may not read it. I never usually do. I usually have it written and it's sitting there, but I always want to make sure I have as much information for you so that if you have any types of questions, want to know more information, I can get it to you. If not, I can find out more about it.
I'm the same way.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like to be over prepared.
Absolutely.
But we are running over. So light and love to everybody. And don't forget to share everything. And just have a great day. And I hope you enjoyed listening to us talk with Mike. I know I really enjoyed talking with him. So thank you again for joining us. And just everybody, light and love, and just have a great day.